This is Season 7, Episode 130 of the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast.
Sometimes the important thing is not the number of miles you've driven, but what's going on inside your head while driving. The Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast will stimulate your mind and keep you company while on the road. Join us for education, motivation, and inspiration from wherever you may be in our nation. You'll hear roundtable discussions about important information that's impacting our industry. Plus, you'll learn more about new technology, equipment, driving opportunities, safety, and operations. Get driver success and fitness tips to keep you profitable, safe, healthy, as well as entertaining stories from the road. And don't you know, we've all got a few of those. We might be traveling in different directions, but we're all part of one driver community at the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. With your host, trucker Tim Cicciarelli.
Well, hello, friends, and welcome to episode 130 as we kick off a brand new season, Season 7 of the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. Your friend Tim Cicciarelli here, otherwise known as Trucker Tim, and we are thrilled to embark upon a new season. And what that usually means is a trip for me to Dallas, Texas, right there to the world headquarters of Stevens Transport. I'll be there all week long recording interviews for us to play back for you here in Season 7. And we're real excited to introduce some new segments to the podcast this season. And instead of me telling you all about them, how about we invite the person who got this podcast started in the first place? Let's invite back to the podcast Angela Horowitz on our Stevens Roundtable. It's our Stevens Roundtable. This segment, of course, gives you, our audience, our drivers, an opportunity to learn more about what's happening at Stevens Transport in real time. And one of the things that, of course, I am very excited about is that we are now on episode 130. 130 episodes to binge on, to listen to learn about the culture at Stevens Transport, and learn about how becoming a driver for Stevens can change your life like it has for many, many people. And it has been an honor of mine and a privilege to be the host of this Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast for 6 seasons. And as we embark upon Season 7 here in 2025, it again is my privilege and honor to welcome back, as we always do at the beginning of a new season, Angela Horowitz, the person who started it all with this podcast, going back 130 episodes. Happy New Year, Angela. Thanks so much for joining us. Good to see you.
Hi, Tim. Great to talk to you as well. Happy New Year to you. And I just can't believe it's already been another year and that we are on Season 7. It seems like we just finished recording Season 1. So I don't know where all the time has gone, but it's been an amazing run, and we're looking forward to Season 7.
And coming up shortly, we're going to talk about some of the new segments we're going to introduce to our audience in Season 7. But before we do that, Angela, let's look back at 2024. What a great year for Stevens Transport, for our drivers, for our staff, our employees, our colleagues. Just go through some of the highlights of the year that we just experienced for Stevens, if you wouldn't mind, Angela.
Well, 2024 was a great year here at Stevens Transport. A lot of incredible accolades occurred this year. We were named the Coca-Cola Asset Carrier of the Year for the 3rd year in a row, and getting a three-peat with that award is unheard of.
Awesome.
I think it'll go down in the Guinness Book of World Records, but we have all of our associates to thank for that. Our driving force, our operations personnel, our sales team, our diesel mechanics who keep all of our equipment running, top notch. There's just so many people that really are the backbone of earning that award. The number 2 thing is we also won the General Mills On Time in Full award for the 2nd year in a row. And again, that's a very prestigious award. It means you have to provide, the best service with some of their toughest customers. On time intact means very low claims ratio to no claims ratio. So we're extremely proud of our General Mills team all around. Again, the operations personnel, our maintenance team, our driver leaders, our drivers, on-site management. And, it just goes to show you why some of the best food companies, the most reputable food companies in the world, continue to choose Stevens Transport to grow with. And then recently, I know you've had him on the podcast. I got to witness firsthand in Washington, D.C., Corey Troxel win the Transition to Trucking Excellence Award.
Awesome.
And man, that $200,000 brand new Kenworth truck, this year they really upped the game. PACCAR loaded that thing out with beautiful bells and whistles. It was like a Rolls Royce interior. I haven't seen a lot of them, but I scroll through some of these fancy sites here on Instagram and what have you not, but it was absolutely beautiful. And then they even gave him like a year of college education to get his minor in business administration.
Wow.
There were additional awards that he received, but being a Purple Heart recipient and, learning and getting to know Corey's past, his family has a tremendous legacy and history of serving for our country. And they're so proud and passionate about it. It really brought tears to my eyes. And his mother and his father came in, and it was great to meet them. And it was like one big family. So that was just another huge achievement. It's a third time in 8 years that a Stevens veteran has won that prestigious award. And let me tell you what, they're all winners up there. Just everyone that's even nominated to the finalists are just incredible. I don't know how the judges do it, but we're very honored to continue to have incredible veterans joining us when they transition out of the military. We must now have a reputation of hey, they're very veteran friendly. A lot of their traits and attributes just relate to the cornerstones of who we are at Stevens, from integrity to discipline to execution. So we couldn't be more proud of Corey Troxel for winning that prestigious award. And now he's an independent contractor, an owner-operator, owns his truck outright. And even PACCAR here locally, who sells us all of our trucks, did a whole 5-year maintenance package. Everybody just went all out. And it just, I thank Transition to Trucking. I thank PACCAR. I thank Hiring Our Heroes for putting on this competition, and we really enjoy being a part of it every year. So those are 3 highlights. There's a lot more. We've introduced a tremendous amount of new technology that's very exciting. Vector was introduced, where you can scan your bills right from your truck. You no longer have to go to truck stop scanning, so we don't have to waste time doing that. We have upgraded our telematics for driver performance, so that helps everybody perform better. Platform science has increased our ability to add additional safety features and geo routing for different weather conditions and bridges that might be under construction. So always looking at new technology to drive efficiency in our operations. And it's just exciting, and the drivers they suck it up as much as we suck it up. They can't wait for the next new initiative. It used to be everybody was a little afraid of all that technology, but today it's embraced full-heartedly, and it's really driving business.
Well, it was an exciting year in 2024, and we have even more exciting things planned coming up here in 2025. And we're going to talk about some of the changes in the podcast and just some new segments that we're going to be introducing here in season 7. And thank you, by the way, for believing in this podcast and bringing us back. And I'd like to ask you, what is it about the podcast? How do you believe, Angela, this podcast serves not just Stevens Transport drivers and employees and colleagues, but the industry as a whole?
I go to these different trucking conventions, Commercial Vehicle Training Association, Truckload Carriers, ATA, and people know about our podcast. People are tuning in and listening. They're finding it fascinating. Some have tried to emulate it, but nobody can emulate our Roadside radio show. But listen, it is something that has met the objective of what we set out to do, to be a podcast that was inclusive, educational, get to know Stevens intimately inside the house. There's so many people, hundreds and hundreds of people from inside a company and Paragon, which is our maintenance division, and drivers. And I think it's connected us in a way that we never imagined, but that was kind of the goal, right? We wanted to connect our people inside and outside, and then we wanted to connect the broader community, people that might be interested in a career path with Stevens, whether it's as a professional driver, as an operations leader with our maintenance teams. I mean, there's just tremendous opportunity all the way around. So it really allowed us to also spread the message of who is Stevens and why people love it here in all different types of positions from top to bottom. So I feel really proud of what we've achieved over 6 seasons. I think that, the first season is always a little rough. You're kind of figuring it out. You got to make some tweaks and, find out who is your audience and make sure you're catering to the broader audience so that everybody feels connected to the podcast. And I think we've achieved that. So I'm just super excited about season 7.
Me too. And I'm excited to be back on the yard there at Stevens Transport coming up, in less than a week at the time of the airing of this podcast. So I'll be out there. So again, if you're one of our drivers and you're on the yard, please come find me. Please come say hello. I'd love to put a microphone in front of your face and talk about your life out there in the road and your life as who you are as a person too, because it's more than just what we do professionally. We're a family at Stevens Transport. We want to get to know who you are outside of Stevens, and that just fortifies that relationship that we have with one another. And that's a good segue into some of the segments that will be included in season 7. We're going to stay with our Stevens employee spotlight so we can continue to learn more about the person that walks down the hallways with us, or we pass in the driver's lounge or out in the yard somewhere. We're also going to continue, of course, this segment, the Stevens Roundtable, which gives you a chance to learn about what's happening at Stevens Transport in real time. We'll have our driver spotlight of the week, of course, like we always do. We love to tip that big 10-gallon Stevens cap in appreciation for a job well done to celebrate our million milers, those that complete their leases, and other awards that are earned through our employees, or like the few that you mentioned there, Angela, at the top of this episode. But we've got some new segments that I'd like for you to introduce that we're very excited about presenting to our audience moving forward in season 7. Let's start with the Legends series. And you can only have a legend series with a legendary company, a company that's been in business for over 40 years. And there's more than a handful of legends. So let's talk a little bit about that, Angela. Some people you might have in mind, or maybe we'll keep them a surprise. What do you think?
Well, I'm very excited about the Legends series. We have really a tremendous amount of legends here at Stevens Transport. I mean, I think you can see their being inside the walls. I mean, they're woven in the fabric of everything that we do because they have been here since the beginning. In fact, one person in particular, Bob Nelson, he just retired after 52 years. Wow. He actually was with the CEO, Steve Aaron, at his former business in the meatpacking industry, and then came with him in 1979 to draw the blueprints and start up one of North America's largest transportation and logistics companies. But I mean, that's a legend. That's more than 50% of your life, right?
Right.
So,
yes.
But we have so many legends here at Stevens, and I think that's something that draws people to Stevens, seeing people evolve and grow and build a 20-year, 30-year career here at Stevens and, never want to leave. It's amazing. So I don't want to give away all of
let's
our
keep some of them a secret.
We have more people to feature than we have series. So you're going to be excited to meet our legends. And we're not going to just talk about, hey, what do you love most about Stevens or why have you stayed so long? We're going to get to know the inner workings, their experience from, back in the day of taking check calls with mile markers to to where we are today, with all the automation, because it's been amazing. So I'm excited about the Legends series and continuing to create the next Legends.
Angela, to piggyback upon what you just said regarding the Legend series, is having had the opportunity to interview a lot of people in that building and out in the yard, is the fact that you have people that have been there for most of their adult life, some 20, 30 years, and then their children are working there now. So if that to me isn't the greatest testimonial for this is an amazing place to work, for someone to spend their entire career with Stevens Transport and then to welcome their own children into this Stevens family, I don't know what does. It's a wonderful story. And
take it a step further,
please.
Tim. We have some people here that have a third generation.
Well,
So,
I need to
and I'm
speak
not
to them.
talking about just the family who owns the place. I'm talking about others. So
Yeah.
you're going to meet lots of great legends, and it is exciting to see our tribal knowledge legends intermingling and working with this new, thirsty, young, just getting started in their careers, and how they feed off of one another. It's really, it's kind of a secret sauce here, and it's great.
And the forward thinking they provide as well, too. And speaking of forward thinking, that leads us to another segment that we're going to be introducing here in season 7. And let's talk a little bit about some of the emerging technology in transportation. This is something you alluded to earlier in our conversation here today, but that's something I think our drivers really need to learn more about.
AI is everywhere around us. We hear about it on the news. We read about it every day. We see it on our phones, right? Because if we surf something, then all of a sudden you start getting all these ads for what you have been liking or looking at. And so, AI is going to play a huge role in transportation. There's so many areas that it's going to impact in a positive way. And so it's going to be a very exciting year. Technology is moving so rapidly. There's so many autonomous vehicles that are in testing phase, right? It used to be one here, one there, short, route that was pretty simple. It's getting more complex, and they're mastering it. So we're getting closer to a lot of the initiatives that have been started several years ago. We continue to be able to communicate and to understand all the inner workings of what our drivers are going through, the job that they're performing, how to make it more efficient, how to bring green initiatives. We're very big on green initiatives and sustainability, and customers demand that today. We all want what's better for the environment, right? And reducing those greenhouse emissions and the technology that is in play to do that, we're testing the digital 360-degree mirrors that now you can see all the way around your truck is amazing. Doesn't mean you don't have to get out and look. But I'm going to tell you that we're in the process of implementing all of those right now on all 2,600 trucks, because we did a test with about 50 of them, and we had zero incidents. And that's unheard of. So just, continuous advancement, being at the forefront of all things technology. We're going to data warehousing. It's going to eliminate the need for all of these reports that sometimes are driven by manual entry. It also gives you real-time data. You're not looking at data today that's last night's data. So moving into data warehousing's huge. We implemented Workday human resource system last year, and now we're moving into the financial piece for the P&L with Workday. There's just so many different initiatives, and we'll have our technology experts on at least monthly, once, maybe twice, because that's how many new initiatives we're adopting at the current time. So it's going to be a big year of technology.
Angela, when I interview new drivers and I ask them why Stevens, there's 3 reasons actually that they tell me why Stevens when they do their research. 1, it's safety and how that's top of the list for Stevens Transport. Number 2, they talk about the technology that other companies have not quite caught up with. But the third thing they talk about is the training. And that leads us to another new segment we're going to be offering in a serial type format. This was your idea, and this is a brilliant idea. This is the evolution of a driver. Tell us your idea, Angela, how we're going to use a serial format, meaning an A to Z type formula to show our audience that are thinking about becoming drivers the process of becoming a driver, our driver evolution?
I think people look at all the success, whether you're a million miler, whether you're a driver trainer, whether you're an independent contractor, and it seems so far off, like hard to obtain. It's hard to become the next, Beyonce, right? Okay, that might be one, and I don't even know what the odds are to be famous like that, or to be the next mega lottery winner, right?
Or how about we just say like a Rocky File, perhaps? I mean, someone like him, right?
Yeah, and so it seems really far away, but you can evolve very quickly to super success as a professional driver. And I thought it'd be interesting to tell people how to do it, what the stages and the metamorphoses of each stage are from the time that somebody decides they want to embark on this career, when they apply, whether they need a CDL or not, if they have a CDL, if they want to take a next step with the business ownership, if they want to be a trainer and driver mentor, if they want to, move inside the house and be an operations leader, a safety leader, a maintenance leader. I mean, there are so many ways to evolve. Transportation is a $1 trillion industry, and there's just no limit to how you can evolve throughout this industry, starting out as a professional driver. Because understanding what it takes to pick up a load, deliver a load on time, intact, navigate around the country, follow the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulation, DOT compliance, haul specialty commodities. When you master that, and we train you on how to master that, we're the masters of that training. We set you up for an evolution that is beyond what you ever thought you could be or achieve. And we love it. And so, I thought it'd be interesting to take people through that journey, let them meet people in different stages of that journey, let them meet the people who are on the other side assisting and supporting the people in those different stages of their journey, and see how many different ways there are to even evolve, when you start out as a professional driver. So I thought it'd just be interesting to talk about that, because I think people are curious.
They are curious. And that's what I hear when I'm out there for, say, Driver Appreciation Week, and we interview those that are in the school, and they say they've listened to the podcast, and that's why they chose Stevens. And then this is going to spell out every single little breadcrumb that you drop for them along that path, and spell it out. So those that are doing their research, like some already have, we're going to literally show you the entire process on, and it doesn't just stop to when you are out there on your own. We're going to go through some of our legendary drivers to explain how to get to that 1,000,000 miles, and some of the tactics they use. It's not just to get you on the road. This is to get you successful and become a member of that Hall of Fame downstairs at Stevens Transport. So I'm real excited about it. That's a great idea, Angela. And we're going to start recording that in just like a week and a half at the time of this recording. So I'm excited to come out there back to Dallas to see everybody there at Stevens again, to see you again, Angela. And just a personal note, this has been quite a journey, and I am incredibly blessed to be a part of it. So thank you for welcoming me back to be the host for season 7 of the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast.
Thank you, Tim. We're lucky our paths crossed. A dear friend introduced us a little over 5 years ago and thought, hey, it would be really this could be a great partnership. And we were just talking about marketing ideas. And we used to have a radio show years ago, Major Logan. He was like Good Morning Vietnam. He was a legend in the radio space in the military, truthfully. And he put together a radio show that we used to do. And so when my dear friend Carrie mentioned it, I thought, wow, we could bring back the radio, but in a podcast. And then Tim and I hit it off immediately, and you've been incredible. You've immersed yourself. You've wanted to learn everything there is about Stevens Transport. The respect and kindness and interest that you show each person that you've interviewed along the way. You feel like You are part of our family, Trucker Tim. I named you Trucker Tim.
Yes, you did.
And we're thankful to have you as a partner behind this successful podcast.
Well, let's keep it rolling together, Angela. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you taking time out of your day for this very special episode to kick off season 7 of the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. All right, let's pump the brakes in episode 130 of the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast. Again, would love to remind you to subscribe and follow the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast from whichever podcast platform you're enjoying the show from. When you hit your next stop, if you're listening to us on Apple Music or Spotify or Audible or Stitcher Radio or iHeartRadio or even YouTube, wherever you're finding this podcast, please subscribe and follow. It will help us bring more episodes to you in the future, and will keep you informed, entertained, and educated every single week with all things that are happening at Stevens Transport. Again, my name is Tim Cicciarelli, and I want to thank you for letting me keep you company today. Until next week, be safe out there, and thanks so much for listening to the Stevens Transport Roadside Radio Podcast.